Bismillah. Yeah, can you see?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now okay?
Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, this is the slide, but make sure you have your copy. You can download it through the GC. And I think it's also good you download the latest one, maybe one or two slides, if there was amendments. Okay, performance measurement in public sector organizations. Okay, this is the content, as I mentioned, right? So very diverse. I think it's a topic by itself. And I think it's interesting to understand this because, okay, like procurements topic, okay, is also related with auditing. And these topics, performance measurement, they are linked to all other topics, budgeting and procurements, and also linked to audit, okay, in a way. And we talk about performance of organizations. If you think carefully, basically that's what accounting is, isn't it? To measure performance. Okay, so one of the challenge in government organizations, there is no common measure. Okay, like in private sector, you have profits. So people understand profits, they can appreciate profits, okay, through profits measurement and with related information and measures. You know, they can move towards financing, towards okay, either through equity financing or debt financing, assessing a performance, okay, regulatory needs, okay, with others. And definitely it's a measure of success. Okay, look at this slide. What is performance of organizations? Okay, there was a saying here by Armstrong and Barron. If you can't define performance, you cannot measure or manage it. Okay, so if you look at organizations, right, measure is the first thing before you can manage, because you are talking about allocating of resource allocations, and then with the objectives. Okay, so if you look at various government agencies, yeah, I think you can clearly see. Okay, maybe many of you are following the government budgets in your country, in Malaysia, for instance. Like we had last week, 300 billion plus were approved, okay, to be utilized in next year in 2021. So a huge amount of resources, a huge amount of money, public money, okay, so with multiple sources. So, but of course, I mean, what is the outcome of those activities and spending? So that is why it's important. Of course, in private sector, okay, with the development of the reporting system, okay, so that will become the basis for so many things, for dividends, for market price, and others. So similarly, how that can be also achieved in public sector organizations. If you look at the second point there, second box, performance measures define the success of organizations. Okay. So one more time, performance measures define the success of organizations. Okay, right. Maybe read carefully, yeah. Because in other words, right, for organizations, because success of organizations is very important. Okay, it will be reported to the public, it will be reported to the parliament. Okay, it will justify resource allocation. Okay, it justify support in terms of budgets, personnel, recruitments, and others, right? But what the issue is, okay, so what measures do they use, right? So it's just like yourself, isn't it? I think I like to use, because understanding is very important. It's like yourself, yourself as how you call yourself as a student, So for our discussion, you as students, right? How you measure your success academically?
Our CGPA, sir.
GPA.
Yes. Okay. CGPA as a common measure. And of course, it's a consensus, it's accepted. Of course, for you, once you become student, you have to take it, right? So the university basically dictate it for you. And of course, you accept, okay, and CGPA as one of the common measures for student success, okay, used by the university to measure and to promote the students, and also used by the industry, the future employers, by your sponsors, because as common measure and it is accepted and recognized, okay, as your measure of success. But at the same time, we can also, let's say we change, measure the student success measure, one, of course, the CGPA, but how to measure the CGPA. Okay, now the CGPA is measured mainly based on your academic performance. Academic year performance, how they measured is basically based on class evaluations, assessments, and exams. Correct? Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say let us change. Okay, instead of using all this assessment to measure your CGPA, so we change that to class attendance. Okay, if you come to class 100%, your grade will be A. And with A grade, your CGPA become 4.0, isn't it? And this is a measure of your success. Which one do you like? Attendance as your measure of success, or exams?
Attendance.
Attendance or exams? Or assignments?
Attendance, sir. Easier,
Okay.
easier, it is easier.
It's easier. Yeah, I mean, it's very logical, isn't it? I mean, I mean, we are human beings. It's nothing wrong. But it's just that the system allow that to happen? Okay. Of course, I mean, attendance is also part of that measurement, but it's not directly related, because attendance is just that it's a requirement to sit for the exams. Not during the MCO, huh? Of course. Now I'm talking about a normal period. Now it's an abnormal period is different, huh? But in the normal period, class attendance what I mean is face to face, is for you to be eligible to sit for the exam, right? Okay, anyway, just for discussion purposes, what I mean is, the measure, okay, chosen will determine how the success organization being defined, right? So it's very important. Why it is important for government organizations, right? So what kind of measures being developed to represent their success? Okay, so these are some of the issues that that need to be somehow understood, and given due consideration. Okay, what is performance measurement for? Of course, for reporting, for accountability. Here, yeah, post-mortem. Post-mortem, it means that ex post control of certain management control mechanism. And here, in this case, performance measurement here is inclusive for financial and non-financial performance measure. So we talk about budgeting. So budgeting is part of financial performance information, right? So on top of that, it's not sufficient. Okay, we talk about value for money, we talk about effectiveness, efficiency. So we need more information to reflect on the performance of the government organizations. Okay, muhasabah, learning, okay, is all part of the process in use of performance measurement. Okay, so in this slide, it shows categories of performance measures. There are inputs, okay, finance, manpower, equipment, facilities, supplies, activities, okay. So in this example, I think this is the same example as given in the slides of outcome-based budgeting, just to see the continuation. Consolidation of farmers, tourism, okay, tourism activities are so many. Because during nowadays, or even in normal time, that tourism definitely one of the major source of income for every nation. Okay, and particularly with the advent of cheap flights and all that, so the tourism activities, okay, become one of the major revenue source for countries. and farmers as well. So and then there are also categories, output categories. Okay, number of smallholders for the farmers, numbers of inquiries by tourists, number of tourists coming to the country, and then outcome. Okay, so the outcome here, income growth. I think that's basically for the agriculture, isn't it? Agriculture activities in the country. One is, of course, the supply of agriculture produce. The other is a source of employment, income for the citizens. And yeah, the effect, the outcome of all the activities for tourism is the growth in number of tourist operators, okay, also creating job employment, okay, together with the number of tourists coming to the countries, reflecting the income level. Okay, so in this, I think it's very good. For every organizations, right, they should have all these categories. Okay, they must have input measures, they have activity measures, output and outcome. Okay, being institutionalized in organizations. So in other words, it's part and parcel how the top management deliberate and to develop their strategic planning. Okay, and then this is also part of our internal accountability as well as external accountability. So that in place, right? Okay, the issue is, so in certain government organizations, to what extent they have these measures in place, okay? That can be argued or can be discussed further. Okay, they may have a performance measure up to activities. Okay, they may not have measures, output and outcome. Or maybe even another way to look at it, they may say that they have these categories, okay, output and outcome, but actually all these are basically more suitable or can be categorized as activity-based performance measure. All right. So if you link this to accountability, so definitely outcome and outputs are higher level of accountability, whereas input and activities are lower level of accountability. Okay, take note of that. Okay, the importance of performance measurement, right? Improving planning and control. Okay, that's the idea why it's a widespread practice. Okay, locally as well as internationally, to use a comprehensive performance measures for better planning and control, improving the overall performance. Okay, improve service delivery and value for money, because more dimensions are given for all activities in the organization. So in other words, all resources being used, consumed, okay, utilized either daily, monthly, or at any time in the government organizations can be mapped to specific KPIs and can be mapped to specific objective of the organization. Okay, so in that sense, it will improve service delivery. Okay, as a result of all the activities of the organizations and the value for money. Okay, as an overall performance measure. Assisting public sector to focus on achieving organizational objective. Okay, recover managers to come up with targets for objectives to be achieved. And here, I think you can say that it's more focused. Okay, they have the relevant measures, they have the relevant matrices, not only just one financial measures, which is not sufficient because traditionally the main performance measure was financial and basically actual expenditure for budget. Okay, with the expectation that whatever they plan can achieve what is the objective. But as mentioned earlier, if all these objectives are not measured, performance are not measured, it's not going to be managed and will not be achieved. Okay. Improving the quality of decision making among public sector managers. With performance information, managers have direct knowledge of progress and achievement of its areas and responsibilities. Okay, customer service, financial management, project progress, and others. Okay, so with that performance measure. Promote learning in organizations to adapt for continual improvement. Okay, continuous improvement is always the language within organizations, right? Improve the level of accountability. Okay, I did mention this. Performance reporting on program, activities, or projects would lead to greater transparency of public sector as key performance areas are disclosed. Okay, so that is for external accountability. Promote delegation of authorities and responsibilities. Help greater coordination and effective communication between top management and line managers to focus on key areas of organizational performance, okay, reflecting their main services, reflecting their strategic objectives, right? So So with these KPI, they can, because more authorities for the local level managers, so they can respond the needs of their target groups much better. Okay, so but definitely they need certain level of control by top management. So that's why performance measures are the center of all this. Okay, assist public sector organizations to address different needs or varieties of the stakeholders. PM provide means that reflect the interests of many groups. So many groups here, okay, I think we recognize in this class that every organizations and multiple stakeholders, particularly for government organizations, okay? Okay, they have political masters, they have parent ministries, they have the treasury, they have the target groups, they have the NGOs, okay, the voters, taxpayers, right? So with the multiple comprehensive performance measures, they can address the need of these stakeholders. Performance versus accountability, right? To bring transparency, insight to its main services, the cost of output, and how much a particular activity contributes to output, lead to rationalization. Okay, what get measured, get done. Input-output relationship become more transparent, should lead to efficiency. Okay, Weber's theory of bureaucracy says increased transparency may reduce the opportunity to hide inefficiency and effectiveness. And lastly, PM will work as an efficiency driver if it is based on internal and realistic measures. Okay, that is another issue. Because sometimes parent ministry impose performance measure. But the performance measure must reflect the internal strengths of the organizations, its environment, its capacity, and how that can be aligned. Okay, alignment is very crucial. Otherwise, the organization cannot function as it should be. Okay, despite they have numerous resources and competencies. Internally initiated PMS has higher probability of success than externally imposed PMS. External performance measures encourage window dressing. Okay, so window dressing here means they report, okay, because at the end, when you talk about external PMS, so let's say parent ministry, okay, impose, okay, performance measure to the government organizations or to their agencies. So what they can do is they can, because they need to report, but the report is basically to comply. Okay, but the performance measure being collected is not really useful for their management. All right. So this gap is possible. Okay. Leading to window dressing. So in other words, performance information being collected not very useful for decision making. So in other words, it won't change the operation. It won't be used in the decision making. So it's possible that this can happen in government organizations, right? Okay, basis for discharging accountability by civil servants using these KPIs and performance measures. PMS are more effective when they concentrate on strategic planning purposes and are not used primarily for accountability or for performance reporting purposes. Okay, take note of this because I think that's quite a challenge, okay, for government organizations, okay, with all these relationships, so that at the end they develop a very useful performance measure. I think that's what accounting is, isn't it? If you look, I think the basic, both for financial reporting as well as management accounting, useful information is the fundamental. It's like a threshold for all the effort in accounting process or in accounting operation. So at the end, what is being developed or reported must be useful for the managers or for the users. Okay, so that's always a challenge. Okay, any question? Are you still with me, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Okay. Now we just look at why it is important, but now we look at the technical side of performance measurement. Okay. One is development of relevant performance measure. Then what need to be taken into account? Okay. Influence of multi-stakeholders, role of top management and line managers, reporting unit. Right. So who are the owners of the KPI or the performance measure? Okay. What is domain? Right. And then approach of implementation. So at the end, to develop relevant performance measures. Okay, I think as an accountant and with accounting and finance, So definitely, at the end, this performance measure is very, very useful for the management of the organization. And of course, as an accountant, you have to develop or become active participants in the development of a performance measurement system. Okay, so all these discussion, can provide framework or guidelines, the level of involvement that is needed, or maybe the kind of advisory that you can provide to the organizations. Okay, influence of stakeholders, right? So you can see this. It can be regulators, internal stakeholders, and external stakeholders. Okay, the regulators, including Parliament, the Parliament and the Treasury. Okay, internal stakeholders, the Parliament Ministry, top management, line managers, right? Share common indicators, and then external stakeholders, including the voters as well as the pressure groups, the NGOs. Okay, so definitely organizations have to recognize. Okay, I think we did discuss this, the role of dominant stakeholder. Okay, on the attracting the highest level of resource allocation. So together with that, they need to be addressed. So in other words, of course, I mean, as mentioned earlier, that target customers should be the main stakeholders. Okay, but at the same time, all these influence and pressures need to be recognized as well. Okay, reporting units. Okay, so for government agencies, departments, statutory bodies, companies, and their agencies. So companies here, okay, including government-linked companies. So not companies for private sector, because Malaysian government also have hundreds and thousands of, I mean, at all level of government, at the federal, state, and local government, there are hundreds and thousands of companies. Okay, and then program at the program level and activity. So these are closely linked to what we understood for the budgeting purposes. And so in other words, reporting units, so every reporting units, they also have set of KPIs together with financial and non-financial KPIs they need to report. Okay, I think you can also, that's why if you understand balance scorecards, how it works, okay, as a performance measurement system, you also can, you can use this, the understanding and principles of balance scorecard to understand our discussion, okay? And of course, you can link that together with the budgeting discussion, right? It's just that in this topic, we highlight a bit more beside the financial performance measure, together with the non-financial performance measures. Okay, so maybe the next question will be in terms of, I think in previous class there was a question on collection of data. Okay, so that's why I think the owner of the KPI, they are responsible to collect the data for their KPIs. Okay, the budget holders, the managers. Okay, so here activity program, at program level, activity level, and agency. So I mean, at the responsibility center level, that will be the lowest level where this information will be collected. Okay, but who reporting, depending who is the owner of the KPI. Generally, if you are the owner of the KPI, either, in our university, the owner of the KPI can be the dean, okay, can be the heads of departments, can be the directors of so many directors in our university, isn't it? And including deputy directors and director himself, okay, that they are reporting towards various committees in the university. As an example. And if you look at government as a whole, then the performance information at the agency level will report to the parent ministry. And parent ministry will report to either the cabinet or to the parliament, okay, to the members of parliament. So all this, but the source of information, the data collection is from the ground, from the operation. I think, yeah, if not mistaken, yesterday, there was a forum led by Minister of Communication on how they develop all this performance data. Okay, the interview with DOSH, the Department of Statistics, as well as the medical director that directly involved in COVID, in managing the COVID. Okay, I think that was a good forum. You can check, I think, through TV1 channel. Okay, so have a look. That you can see, how the basically make sure that all this performance information, the data, have to be very reliable and useful, okay, for policy as well as to manage the problems. Okay, now that's why. Okay, now with the structure, okay, once we understood how the information, what need to be developed, and now it's a performance reporting and monitoring. So if the performance information is not reported, it's not going to be useful. Because accountability, performance must have with accountability. Okay, that's why I think the phrase, okay, the tagline is accountability match performance match accountability, or the other way around. Okay, accountability must match the performance, right? If there is mismatch, and then that it can create problems. Okay, so how to make sure that this is happening is through performance reporting and monitoring. Okay, reporting is important and should be monitored by the superior or by the independent committee, other than those are being monitored. Okay, performance reporting in terms of at the government level, okay, can be league table, annual reports to a national audit office, internal reports by the health administration to parliament, or the person on tier 1 tier up in the hierarchy. So that's how the performance reporting being made. I think league tables is ranking. So that's why you can see various type of rankings. Okay, for universities, you can have several ranking. Okay, we start for the international as well as the local and national level. Okay, performance monitoring, ongoing systematic review of the performance, comparing between actual and targets. Okay, use of performance dashboards. I think now is in terms of to report, to present the performance information, use of performance dashboard. Okay, online and real-time monitoring. I think you can see this, okay, as an example how COVID monitoring by the Director General of Ministry of Health. Of course, I mean, what they can share to the public, okay, there are ways of presenting it. I think every day, the new information being provided, as well as, okay, this information being presented to the National Security Council, okay, as well as at the Ministry of Health level. Performance evaluation, the assessing in depth and judging the effectiveness of government policy and programs. Okay, that's how important it is. Okay, with this performance information, then they can tell, okay, the money that they allocate, the activities that they approve is basically useful and can achieve what need to be done to solve public policy problems or to solve the government public sector problems and in general the publics. Okay, are you with me still? Any questions? Any question?
Sir,
Okay.
for public organization, usually their performance, their top priority is based on like profit or other stuff. For example, like the police, their performance, is it based on their revenue or different?
Okay. Good question, Brother Amirul. Okay, because definitely their priority not profit. Okay. So and also maximizing revenue. They are not doing that. Okay. These two measures they are not performance measure for government organizations. Okay. Generally. But of course, revenue and profits are performance measure for GLC, government-linked companies. Okay, I think we discussed about responsibility centers and others. Okay, you can read those topics. But for government organizations, generally, okay, they use performance measure relevant to their objectives and services, which is basically non-profit. Okay, for instance, you look at the police. The police, okay, I mean, we just use something that we understand about the police. Okay, the police is basically to look at domestic security. Okay, domestic security, internal security. Okay, reducing crime. Okay, to make sure that the whole country is in peace. Okay, there is no threat of terrorism. There is no threat of external influence. There are no threat of against life. Of course, at the same time enforcing the law. So all these are basically their targets. Okay, they are not looking at how much money they have to save and how much money. That's why government need to support them. Okay, with budget allocations, right? So that will be their main performance. It's not revenue and it's not profits. Okay, so that's why it's good for you to understand what will be their main main areas of performance. You have to look at, okay, their mandates. Okay, what are the source of their mandates? Okay, it can be specific statutes. Okay, for the police, you have to find. Generally, at their website, they will provide where is the source of their mandates. Okay, then you can review. From there, you can understand. So, what will be their main performance? Okay, but definitely not maximizing profits. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and okay, I mean, since you asked this question, that's why sometimes government services, okay, and particularly if you look at security services, they are unseen, hidden, okay? They are hidden because, you know, people every day they continue to work. All these big companies, they continue to operate and make money and profits uh, without have to deal with the enemies of the country, without having to deal with all the security. You know, basically, if you look at the information system, okay, the cyber attacks and all that, cyber security, ongoing attack is happening as we speak. But all that being basically protected by the national infrastructure. All these are hidden. That's why sometime there was last time remark given by one businessman saying that all the security personnel are there basically sleeping. Okay, but at the end he has to apologize to the country, because all these services are hidden before our eyes, but they are, okay, the fact that they are there protecting the country. Everybody is in peace. They are doing their, they can go to schools, they can go, have their life in the best way. So that's what's happening. Okay, so definitely profit is not in their mind. The profit in their mind, all these services are very costly. Okay, another way to look at it, if you just look at public, I mean, something that close to us, public, healthcare, as well as public institutions for education, right? So if you look at education, for instance, I think universities every time when at your offer letter, they will show you how much it costs to the government and how much you pay, isn't it? So formulation definitely is heavily subsidized. Okay, so that's why profit is not the main criteria for our performance. Okay, so the main criteria for our performance, what will be, okay, to produce comprehensive and well-educated students and others. That's what government is. Okay, unlike private sector where the profit making. Okay, when if it's not profitable, they're not going to offer the services. Okay, so another example you see, that's why schools. There are schools. Only public school can survive to provide good education for the uh, for the disadvantaged, not disadvantaged group, but it's just that they live not in the urban areas. Okay, there was example of school with 2 students. Okay, but how many teachers? 11 teachers. So private sector cannot provide this kind of setting. Only government can provide. Okay, 11 teachers with the guru besar, with the principal, with 2 students. Okay, but the justification for the school, why the school is not closed, because these 2 students, they can only afford to come to the school in this area. Okay, so it is justified because for the government, education is for everybody. Okay, regardless of how much cost it takes. Okay, in a way that so that's how you should see how government organizations, they basically organize their activities. All right. I think one time I was having discussion with one of my friends. Of course, when there was okay, of course these are recorded, but anyway, just for discussion purposes. when there was a time where public universities, their budget had been cut severely. Yeah? So in the end, I did mention to one of my friends working in corporate, saying that, you know, I think you should acquire this university, become private. And then quickly they said, okay, education is not our target because it simply cannot make money, right? It's just simply costly to provide good quality education. Okay, but still, so government have to provide. Okay, Brother Amirul?
Okay, sir.
All right, so you should become a very good civil servant.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now we move on to the implementation. Okay, implementation of performance measurement. Okay, it can be top down, it can be and also bottom up. Okay, top down mainly the top management will develop set of performance measure, and so that everybody in the organization, they have to use those measures. Okay, so the primary focus on top down approach is oriented towards accountability and control. Okay, whereas bottom up, where the performance measure, the line managers or the agency managers, they are allowed, or they have the autonomy to develop their own performance measures and to be approved by the superiors. So a greater concern for promoting improvement in performance. I think you can see that. So bottom up and top down, okay, they are equally important. Okay, to be, so that there will be negotiations and there will be dialogue. That at the end, what will be the best outcome? I think that should be this dialogue and negotiation process should take place, so that the performance measure developed are very relevant, that can demonstrate value for money. Okay, and that is why I think if we bring this to government setting, okay, if you look at the type of civil servants, there are two major types of civil servant. One is they call it administrative officers, or they call it diplomatic officers, and the other is professional groups. Okay, so professional groups generally they are the one who running government organizations. Okay, like Ministry of Health, so run by the doctors and the nurses or the related experts. Okay, like education, so our academics basically running the organizations. And there are others as well. If you look at other public work department, for instance, run by the engineers, because they know they are you know how to develop all the engineering standards. So run by the professionals. Okay, so this is very important because they have the understanding what is the best practice. Okay, that okay, in the private sector also the same language. Okay, you talk about best practice that demonstrate to achieve the higher revenue, the highest revenue, as well as to get highest profit. Whereas in government, okay, similarly in government, okay, the professional groups, they have the understanding and expertise. Okay, in general, okay, I'm saying this in general. So, but that's why I think this dialogue, this very important communication, so that at the end, the relevant performance measure as well as activities that can be developed reflecting a good use of public money, right? Instead of, okay, the parents ministry, okay, based on sometimes parent ministry, they can engage consultants, okay, external consultants, and sometimes these external consultants, they are not within the private sector organizations, they are private consultants, okay, either locally or internationally. Sometimes they don't have that full understanding of how government agencies operate. Then because of that specifications that they propose to the government, so the government impose them to the government agencies. This can create problems because then, as I said earlier, there are set of performance measures not really useful for the professionals to run the organizations, but being imposed, so they can be they can develop this issue of window dressing. Okay, so I think dialogue, flow information, and is very important. Right. Okay. This is explanation there. Top-down, this approach tend not to be integrated into management process and fail to engage the commitment of middle and junior management. Such a system neglect the view of service users and therefore tend to contain few measures of relevance for the line managers. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying that top-down is wrong. No, okay, it's important, but it should be both, so that the dialogue should happen. And of course, I mean, what I'm saying is very relative, depending on the progress and the performance, the existing performance of agencies. If the government agency itself is quite weak in terms of their services, then definitely there is a more direct intervention is needed by the parent ministry and even by the treasury, and they have to consult on the experts or side organizations. This is also possible. Okay, attributes of effective PMS, diverse and complementary, causally related. It's okay. So in simple words, it should cover financial and non-financial measures. Causally related, so you can see that is basically, if you understand balanced scorecard as principle, so and how it works, then that's how also, I mean, it's very important for the performance measurement to have these attributes. Okay, performance measures should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. Okay, to be smart, informative, cost-effective, strategic orientation. Okay, should be both, not only operational but strategic as well, and incentive for improvement. Okay, need to be embedded. Right, so we just look at quickly the evolution of performance measurement through time. Okay, in 1990s, I think this also I shared when we discussed about budgeting, because budgeting itself is a performance measurement system, but focusing on financial performance. Okay, input-based indicators, rule compliance. Okay, before 1990s. In 1990s to 2010, for almost 20 years. Okay, more emphasis on the 3 E's. Okay, economy, effectiveness, and efficiency, and quality-related, and with customer satisfactions at the center. Okay, with the quality-related reforms, with the MBS, okay, and recently outcome. Okay, result-based accountability, outcome, and impact. Okay, and recently, I think government also are very serious. Even if you look at our university, are very serious on SDG, sustainable development and for the SDG, isn't it? For sustainable development as promoted by United Nations. Okay, so these are the sustainable development goals, right? 17 goals. And definitely these goals can be institutionalized by the government agencies. I think these are also, I mean, the focus of our government as well. And our university in specific. So this is part of being now already introduced. So you can see that the way we approach SDG much more being emphasized nowadays. Okay, of course, pretty much if you look at the areas of this SDG are also very closely related to the DNA of our university, the Islamization, because these are very useful values for no poverty, no hunger, gender equality. Of course, need to be framed within Islamic framework, quality education, life on land, life in water, okay, and others. Right, attributes of traditional performance measure in public sector organizations mainly focus on financial measures. Okay, absence of common performance measures such as profitability. Okay, I think I discussed just now with that question: is government organization are focusing on profits? So they are not, but they need common performance measure as familiar to profitability. Okay, and they think in the private sector. But to develop one is that's what we discuss. These kind of topics become relevant for people like you, accounting graduates, to have that kind of understanding. Constant rule compliance, reflecting inputs and process orientation, then achieving the results. Input and process orientation. Okay. Impact of new public in public organizations. Okay, to enhance this example, how it works in certain countries. UK extra agencies are required to produce planning documents containing mission statement, strategies, and business plan, performance measure, and target were an integral part of the performance measure. Okay, so that will improve performance as well as accountability. In the case of New Zealand, push further to distinguish responsibility for output in the hands of civil servant, whereas outcome is in the hand of elected ministers. So the minister is on the outcome, whereas the government agency is on the outputs. Okay, to shift the emphasis on performance measure from mainly inputs to outcome. So I think these issues has been discussed even at the budgeting level. So this further emphasis in at the performance measurement topic. So to make control become strategic. Okay, just for the discussion, okay, I just noticed that maybe just a quick look. Okay, with regards to the UK executive agencies, maybe we can have examples. This example, business plan by DVLA. Okay, DVLA is a executive agencies in the UK. Okay, corporate report. So business plan. Okay, of course, at the beginning of the year, isn't it? Just like companies. Okay, together with that, they will also share the KPIs. Okay, these are some, but they worded it in is more personalized wording. Provision of driving license. Okay, so this is the volume forecast, level of services. So this is at the level of, say you have the actual and then they have the forecast for 2019 and 20. Okay, so this is shared to the public, so you can see clearly, together with the forecast of the budget for the business plan in 2019 and 20. Okay, and of course, DVLA is like JPJ from Malaysia, Public Transport Department, where I think DVLA is more on for licensing, driving licensing. Okay, and then we can look at their annual reports. So let me quick business plan. Maybe we just look at annual report. Okay, the report counts. Yeah. Okay, so they show what they need to achieve, then they report. Already here. Right, okay, they have financial statements, okay, kind of expected. Performance report, okay, so you can see performance report. So being published clearly. Simple as that. I think it's good, okay, you see that, their targets, okay, they clearly show partly achieved, okay, achieved, partly achieved, but it's a narrative rather than quantitative. Okay, yeah, even the target, okay, 90%, so they say achieve, retain standards, customer complaint 5%, okay, achieve. So basically there's this reporting also to the public, all these performance measure. Okay, they categorize with strategic goals, with the measures. Strategic goals, and these are the measures with the targets, right? So yeah, I mean for Malaysian, for agencies in your countries, okay, other than Malaysia, definitely it's a good practice, okay. So, but in the UK, they already achieved this to this level. Malaysia, I think there was an attempt, but then okay, we just need to find out. But I think the reporting is quite diverse, unlike in the UK. All right, as an example, you can take note. Any question? So I'll continue. For that, any question? The UK next agencies, they produce planning document, and then they also provide the annual reports for that. Okay, so being reported to the public, and definitely, I mean, but in Malaysian government, we are moving towards that. It's just that the KPIs are being reported to the Prime Minister. So maybe you can, if you study the agencies that you're looking at, possibly you can have a look do they produce all these KPIs as well in their annual reports? Okay. Right. Now we move on to holistic performance measurement model applicable to public sector organizations. So, as I mentioned, holistic performance measure, right? Because I mean, to put in the very plainly, is basically covering both financial and non-financial. So the model, the 3Es model, okay, economic efficiency and effectiveness. Second, balanced scorecard, and at least the government organizations, if they are not really at the level of implementing balanced scorecard, they should have KPIs. But I mean, with our understanding on the fact that all government organizations, they have quality-based programs, ISO, TQM. If you look at all these ISO and TQM, they're also promoting the use of KPIs. Okay, but the only thing is, can they achieve to the level of balanced scorecards? These are issues that can be discussed further. Integrating a balance between input, process, and output indicators of performance drivers and results. Okay. The 3Es, okay, effectiveness, efficiency, and economy. Okay, look at the example, right? Effectiveness, I think one of the major measures is basically customer satisfactions, based on customer survey as well as number of complaints. I think if any organization, they have a quality initiative, they will have customer survey. Okay, definitely. Efficiency can be workforce productivity, can be time efficiency, okay, and also cost-based efficiency, okay, based on the unit cost of output. Okay, efficiency is based on unit cost of output. Right. For economy, it can be unit cost of activities. Okay, because the idea of economy is basically the lowest cost to provide the services or activity. As well as now, I think if they, a government agency, they're adopting SDG as part of their framework to manage the organizations, they should also develop SDG measures. I think in URA now, okay, very active in developing these measures. Okay, as part of our to make sure that Sejahtera as well as all this SDG agenda up and running in the organizations. Okay, these are related to quality measures. Okay, benchmarking, customer satisfaction, quality awards. These are not only measures; these are mechanism to make sure that, of course, at the center of this is basically KPIs. Okay, how they can award, they can have these quality awards and competitions. Okay, benchmarking as well as an initiative, okay, as a reform initiative to make sure that government organizations, they have this sense of competition. I think quality measures, okay, with KPIs is an integral part of their initiative, is to have a sense of competition or quality. Of course, for private sector, because they are subjected to market forces, okay, they have to be efficient in that sense. Whereas government organizations, they are not under market forces. At the same time, they have also to be efficient and effective. Okay, so these are some of the initiatives for them to be able to be effective and efficient. Okay, balanced scorecards. I think everybody understands balanced scorecards. You learned this before, isn't it? Balanced scorecard, or is already removed from your syllabus? Did you learn this in DMC? Did you learn this topic?
Yes, sir, in DMC.
Okay, all right. I think, of course, it's good in terms of to provide a very good comprehensive framework how things are working within organizations and how they are related to the objective organizations. And in that sense, the control is the management control mechanism is the KPIs. Okay, and okay, every KPI must have owners. The owner of the KPI, they call it. So the owner of the KPI, just like yourself, you are the owner of CGPA, isn't it? Are you the owner of the CGPA? Class? Are you still with me? Or you gone already?
Yes, still here.
So are you the owner of the CGPA? Or maybe, everybody should answer this, huh?
Yes,
Are you the owner of the KPI?
yes, sir. Yes, we are the owner of our CGPA.
Huh? Only Tanvir say yes. What about others?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very quiet, huh? Amirul, Tanvir, others?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Maybe everybody should say yes. Put that at least in your message. If you don't say yes through voice, 48 yes. It should be 48 yes. Yeah. Okay. So all right. I'm waiting still. Who will be the last yes? To get. So yes. Okay. That's good, huh? You are the owner of the CGPA. Eh? Do I have 48 already? Doesn't look like. Okay, one more. Yes. Who's not reply yet? Yes. Oh, no more yes, huh? All right. Anyway, I think yeah, you get my point, isn't it? Okay, because you are the owner of the CGPA as your KPI. So similarly, in government organizations, all these KPI they have owner, right? And with that, they have responsibilities to manage the activities. Huh? Right. So you can, I think clearly, I think in balance scorecard, you have customer, internal, process, innovation, learning, financial, but the scopes can be, modified according to the needs of the organization. Huh? So I'm sharing here. Yeah, this is a recent framework, a performance framework. I call it performance framework for our university. Okay, I'm just sharing with you just because it's closely related to us. Huh? So, and maybe in this example, also definitely can see how SDG has been embedded within the university. Yeah? Okay, of course, these are as a planning performance framework need to be translated into activities within the organization, and with the center of the control is KPIs. Okay, so that's why I said, you can see clearly. Okay, of course, the university they are integrating Islamization with Maqasid of Sharia as well as the SDG. Okay, with humanizing education as a tagline. Okay, there are a few more. High touch of community engagement. Okay, reflecting the focus on SDG and Sejahtera, all that. So, are you started to appreciate Sejahtera, everybody, or still an alien term to you?
Already appreciate, sir.
Oh, good. Anybody still alien to the word sejahtera? In UAE, of course, sejahtera as a Malay word, everybody knows. Sejahtera as a Muslim also, we know. I mean, of course, we have to learn and we have to appreciate. But sejahtera as part of UAE. Okay, are you, get exposed to that? Yes or no? Or not yet?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow, okay, very good. Right, so, so this discussion, the underlying PMS is balanced scorecard. I think this university, very good in terms of translating its strategic objective to the KPIs and with the activities. Okay, I mean, in terms of system, we already have. It's just that a matter of monitoring, enforcement, to make sure that they can, all the agencies can deliver. Right, with all the performance information collected, now we move on to performance analysis. Okay, it's not only preparing, but so what need to be done with the performance information? Okay, with all the information collected, collected at the responsibility center level, at the activity level, at the government agency level, then reported to the ministries, to the parliament as well as to the cabinet ministers, so that it have a policy impact. Okay. So, so these are some. Okay, performance analysis can be comparison over time. Okay, time series can be comparison of actual against standards or budget. Comparison with similar organizations. Okay, as for benchmarking. Okay, for instance, comparison with similar organizations. Let's say last time. Okay, let's say you talk about certain tests. I think if you look at government organizations, sometimes they provide these testing services, for medical reason, okay, for I mean various varieties of services. Okay, chemistry department, okay, we have atomic licensing department. All these sometimes they provide testing services. Okay, so of course, I mean in terms of cost, let's say cost per unit, that's one. The other, in terms of duration of tests taken. Okay, these are examples of they can benchmark their services against their counterparts across the globe. Okay, of course, I mean for Malaysia, they can compare against government in ASEAN countries. They can compare against their partners, okay, like Australia, like in Europe. Okay, they can also compare across Commonwealth countries. Okay, so to make sure that they are what they do is at par. And definitely, if you look at the healthcare services, okay, where the doctors, I think doctors are more towards at personal level, where they are the members of professional bodies, and they can also share across their networks. Okay, comparison between geographical areas or institutions. I think this one is very applicable because government services, okay, they are dispersed, their services, branches and offices throughout the country. Okay, so every unit or every responsibility centers at the state level, they provide services so they can compare their performance. Comparison of actual performance against targeted performance and interdepartmental comparison. Okay, wow, I think it's very long. Where should I stop? I think I should stop somewhere. Now it's 25 already. Okay, I think, you know, I stop here first. I stop here, and then the rest I'll continue in the next class. Because it's already almost more than 1 hour. Everybody is tired listening to me, isn't it? Alone. All right, so I think I stop here. Any question? At least you learn one thing, isn't it? You are the owner of CGPA. Not only you have to achieve your CGPA, so you take the ownership also. Okay, so since last call, any question? All right, so no question. Yes.
Can I ask regarding the online assessment too?
Sure, yes.
For my group topic, we have a public organization, public sector governance.
Okay.
So for the outline for the report, is it same with the online assessment one that we have?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean, it's an assignment, isn't it? So the format is almost the same. The format is the same. It's not almost the same. And the format of submission and reporting is the same.
So we just focus on the based on our topic.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the only, I think there was one question on the for assignment 2. Should you link that? Or did I mention this in the previous class? Should you link to any government agency? Did I explain this?
I'm not sure. I don't think.
Oh, no, sure. Okay. If I repeat this, so some students, they ask, okay, because in assignment 1 you have to link that with one government agency, right? But for assignment 2, because the topics are basically technical topics, okay, it's not a must. It's not a must. It's not a must to link that with government agency. Okay, but if you, because you are developing an arguments, so it's based on your discussion at your group level. If you want to use, definitely, if you, for clarity purposes, to make sure that your discussion is somehow related to actual practice, okay, definitely you can relate that to any government agencies. And my advice is, since because of the time is very tight, you can link that to the area where you study or the government agencies that you already study for the assignment 1. but it is not a must. Okay, so in other words, if you did not include any government agency, doesn't mean that you will score less. Okay, because the quality of your discussion is much more important. Okay, but it's just that you have the options. But the format in terms of presentation and submission is the same.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right, if no, okay, there's one message. No. Brother Tanvir, no. Okay. Is it a question? No? Right, so with that, I think I will end this session with, and if you have any personal or group question, you can always stay back. I will stay back a few minutes. So I end this with wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.